All right, welcome back, everybody. My name is Nick, and I'm here with another CW breakdown. We are going to be going over The Flash, the new season, episode 3 and 4. There should be a video on episodes 1 and 2, which I've already done, but this time we're going to be doing episodes 3 and 4, and oh my goodness, this season seems to just be kicking it in high gear. Crisis has got everybody, every episode, like just with so much going on, especially in 3 and 4. We've got so much to discuss. We've got Ramsey. We kind of see that he is going to be kind of the main villain, Bloodwork, as he's calling himself. We kind of started to see a little bit about him in 1 and 2. He's suffering from a disease, and he has injected himself with dark matter, and with his disease, it's kind of turned him into this monster, and he's infected somebody, and they died and then came back as like the zombie thing, and we're going to get into that with episode 3. All about Ramsey, episode 3 and 4. We get so much about him, a little bit more insight into him, learning about his powers, and what his power can really do, and the effects of it. I think it's going to prove pretty dangerous to the team. And right before Crisis, I don't know if Ramsey is going to play a part in Crisis or what, but it's starting to sound like, they're either going to have to deal with him or come up with something quick or something, because he's turning out to be he's going to be a really powerful foe, because on top of everything else, he's brilliant, so not only are we going to see a metahuman and we've seen this before, there's been other metahumans that he's faced that have been brilliant, but this guy, he's going to know, he's a doctor. He's going to have a lot of medical knowledge, on top of his ability to control these creatures that he creates. It's going to be... I'm just so excited. It's just so awesome. They've really come around with this new season. I'm just super stoked for where it's headed. I'm going to be jumping on a little bit, but I will try and keep it in order. I'm just going over the big stuff, the stuff that we're all excited about. This villain Bloodwork is just so much fun to see on screen. Not a speedster, not somebody who has a crazy abundance of abilities. We're really... and not somebody who can take other people's ability, but this guy can create zombies that have super strength. They can't die. They respond to his every whim. They are him. It is just a super fascinating ability, and really cool to see Ramsey's character, the actor is just doing a phenomenal job. He is a really cool addition to the cast. He is doing a just fantastic job as the villain, and I'm super excited that his duality is really interesting, because he's this doctor, but he's trying to save himself, and his mom, who had suffered from the same disease, in his mind gave up, and he holds a lot of resentment towards that, and we kind of get to see a little bit of those flashbacks as he's kind of transitioning from medical doctor trying to save himself at all costs to more of a villain, and kind of turning that persona and really resonating with that hatred that he felt towards his mom. Just totally well played. Just really, really awesome stuff. I know I'm just saying it's awesome and fantastic. But it is really cool. I like where they're going with it. Bloodwork is a really interesting character, and we see that he's going to be a really difficult challenge. He may even, I don't know, it might even be that he could take over, other mutants. If this ability works, where he can basically, he kills them, and then they come back as his basically him, and their mission is to basically go collect more dark matter, which makes them stronger, and which makes Ramsey or Bloodwork even stronger. So, and he can create as many as he wants, but if he can do this to a metahuman, they might come back and still be able to use their metahuman power. So add super strength to metahuman abilities. So this guy can, I mean, and if he's in control of that, I mean, that's a totally different ball game. And Cisco no longer has his abilities anymore, so they're almost down, a superhero. Wally West is not around at this time, so we don't have Kid Flash. We do have Killer Frost, and we do have the Flash, but the Flash is really wrapped up in Crisis, which is another point that I wanted to get onto. Crisis is just been plaguing every episode. I mean, it's just cut him so deep. As we saw in episode 2, he was very, he got to see kind of what Crisis is and what's going to be happening. And so, he's been dealing with that, trying to prepare the team, trying to prepare for his death, because he knows that he has to die in order for everybody else to live, for him to solve Crisis. So, is he really, is his mind all the way in this mission? And it was also really interesting that they and I think for that's the reason they didn't even know Ramsey was Bloodwork in the first place, because we even saw him playing with his ability in Star Labs. And I thought that somebody would look at a camera or monitor and see what Ramsey was doing, but I guess, not, and which is, acceptable, understandable, because they're all wrapped up in Crisis, especially Barry, who's trying to prepare Cisco to become the leader, and Cisco's not ready to let his best friend go. And, Frost, while she's willing to help the team, she's trying to find her own life. She was, Caitlin has finally given her the reins, and she she almost has to face losing it all. And so, they're not really a unit, which means that Bloodwork kind of, if they're not careful, can really start to do a lot of damage. And as we saw, like in these episodes, he really did, he's basically getting everything he wants, and not a whole lot of people have been able to stop him, because they're two steps behind almost, because they're so focused on Crisis. So at one point, that for the most part they're trying to save Ramsey. They don't even know he is a metahuman. They're trying to save him. They don't even know that, and of course, Ramsey is just working towards his own needs. So you've got a divided team. And Ramsey's been in this. He knows, he doesn't know the Crisis or anything about that, but he does know that he's probably observed what was happening with the team while he was there, although I guess he doesn't know who the Flash is and all that stuff, so maybe that's out the window. But I think he's going to be a real problem for the team for sure. We've got Ramsey, a big part of episodes 3 and 4. His powers are cool, man. His powers are cool. I don't know. If he takes over, Barry or Frost or somebody, it's gonna be. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to see we were supposed to see Black Flash. I know Black Flash was supposed to be a part of this, but maybe they'll have I don't know. Dark Flash? I don't know. Something could happen. Not really sure. But just curious to see how that goes. Barry has to tell the team that he has to die in Crisis. That's another big part. And they're so wrapped up in Crisis. It's really difficult for them to focus on anything really. Even Ralph has given up on his case, because he just doesn't see the point. If everything's gonna leave, what's the point of even trying? If Barry, the person he's become really good friends with and learned to respect and admire, is just going to give up, Ralph's basically done the same. Ralph is an interesting character. I really like the Elongated Man. I really enjoyed that character in the comics, but and he provides such a, I don't know, he has such a comedic stance. When he comes in, he has something funny to say, but he also has something serious to say. And sometimes, him, Cisco, and Caitlin, when they deliver those speeches of the more serious, like, heart-to-heart emotions, I feel like, not that they do a better job, but they have more of a, it connects a little bit more. Barry does a good job too, and so does Joe does a fantastic job. I love the whole cast of The Flash. Don't get me wrong, but it's interesting to see Ralph's character, because he's not a part of the whole episode per se, but he comes in at these moments either to help for a few moments or relieve the team of some stress or provide not, I wouldn't say beneficial information, but kind of helps them clear their minds and start fresh and come up with new ideas, because he just kind of has a way of making you go, huh? Oh, and then, so he plays an interesting role. I didn't think he'd still be, a part of the cast, but, he provides a really good element. The more I watch him as he comes in, he just has a presence that is, I think, really important to the team, and I hope they continue with it. Which brings me to, and I think I talked about this last time, but the new Harrison Wells is, I think, probably one of the coolest iterations of the Wells that we've seen. He is so badass. He is so cool. Harrison Nash Wells. He's kind of has this Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider-esque vibe to him. He's very cool. He knows the Council of Wells, but he's not a part of them. He says this. He's like, because Cisco's trying to introduce himself, and he's like, we're the Council of Wells, and he goes, not those dummies. Like, so very interesting character. For the longest time, we just think he's kind of there as a artifact collector, collecting rare artifacts and gathering them up. We don't know if he sells them or whatnot, but he seems to have a lot of knowledge on alien artifacts, ancient artifacts, basically anything that goes bump in the night. So he's just super cool. Interacts with I really like the relationship that the Wells and Cisco has with each of the Wells. It's a very funny relationship. This one seems going to be completely different, and it's going to look like Cisco's going to have to work to build the relationship with Wells instead of the almost opposite. He's going to be, Cisco's been more standoffish, not really caring if Wells likes him or not, especially with the first iteration of Wells. But over time, he's grown accustomed to really enjoying having a Wells by his side. He even goes to say, to Nash, he's like, we're going to be friends. Like, we might as well just be friends. It'll be rocky at first. We won't get along, but eventually we do. And Nash Wells is like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, this is not going to go the way you think it is. And then I think he tases him or something like that, which is just absolutely hilarious. So I really love this Wells. He is definitely a tie-in to Crisis. We see him in episode 4. He's been searching for something which he thought was Iris West. He thought he was reading some ancient energy. Oh my goodness! Eternium, I think is what it's called. Iridium, I think it's Eternium, which everybody was like, "That's not a real thing," and he's like, "It's a real thing. Trust me, it's a real thing." There's a lot more that you don't know. And so we're getting introduced to this new concept. I'm sure it's something in the comics. I haven't come across it, or it's not sounding familiar. Maybe somebody below will inform me what Eternium is, or what it actually is if I'm saying it wrong. But so he's searching for this stuff. And it turns out that it's not Iris West that he's looking for. He's looking for the monitor. He's looking for the monitor, basically. And by the end of episode 4, I think it is, we see that he's found the monitor's lair and he's tracked down the monitor. So clearly this Wells has had dealing with the monitor, and he's looking for either revenge or something, because he's after to get this guy. Which makes a whole lot of sense, because it seems like almost every Wells has some connection to the overall villain or the overall concept of where the season is headed, whether it be Wells being Reverse Flash in season 1, Zoom being attacking Wells and taking his daughter. In the third one, it was Wells again. Was it Savitar? I think he knew something about, or that Wells wound up saving Iris from Savitar, so from the overall villain. So kind of huge connection there. I forget the other ones, but we've seen a pattern of the Wells having an overall grasp of the main concept of what's going on, and clearly this Wells is no different with the monitor. I think there's something fishy with the monitor. I think he might be either the cause of crisis or something, because we've seen him trying to prepare. He's trying to prepare all the members. He's trying to prepare Arrow, Flash. He's trying to get everybody prepared for Crisis, but he's going about it in really weird ways. I know we're sticking to the Flash, but just kind of combine a little bit. In the Arrow, he's making him run and do a whole bunch of tasks, but he's almost trying to make him turn back into the Arrow from season 1, who's not afraid to get his hands dirty to prepare him for what's coming. It seems like, but he's also manipulating John Diggle's wife to do something as well. So he just seems to have these hidden agendas, and clearly now with Nash Wells on the case, there's might be a deeper insight, and hopefully they can figure out Crisis without him, because I think maybe he might be the cause or the catalyst to why Crisis is coming. And maybe he has a small part to play. In one of the shows, it refers to him. He brings order through chaos, which is pretty interesting. So we might see that he is an overall bigger character or bigger involved in Crisis than just preparing the team. Which, I mean, we all had to guess. He's been a part of he's been popping up more and more recently, and been affecting multiple kind of streams of access here between Arrow and the Flash, and so he's trying to he there's something with it. So just super interesting stuff. Nash is he's just awesome. He's just so cool. I really like his character and his involvement with the team. So that'll be super exciting. I do have some questions, though. I mean, now that that's kind of like the overall scheme of what's going on with Crisis and Wells, I kind of want to run some questions by everybody and kind of see where it lands. Because I've been watching, and some few things I've been pointing out, and maybe let's see if other people have seen them too, or what your guys' thoughts are. So the first question I kind of see is Cisco going to get his powers back? I'm kind of curious about that, because a few things have happened if you've kind of watched Cisco's timeline with him losing his powers. One, Caitlin and Killer Frost, really didn't want him to relinquish his gift, relinquish his metahuman powers. And even when they use the serum on him and gave him the cure, it just I don't know. When I watched that scene, it almost looked like Caitlin had this look like she suppressed it. Like she didn't really go all the way through. Now, of course, he does lose his ability, and he hasn't used it since. And we're 4 episodes into the new season, and he doesn't seem to show any sign of using it. However, in episode 4, they are trying to Barry is trying to prepare Cisco for Crisis, for him to become the new leader. And in that, they try and cure Ramsey. Nash Wells, this is like kind of where they really start, where Barry gets introduced to Wells. And they go on a mission because Wells tells them about a serum, like this regenerative serum that they got from the Annihilators or the Destroyers, that those aliens that we saw a few crossover events. It was this regenerative serum that they had that Barry wanted to use for Ramsey to cure him. Cisco winded up stealing that in some scheme to save Barry, because throughout the whole kind of episode, he's more focused on saving Barry than Ramsey. What he's in his mind, why are we going to save some random person when we should be saving the one person who will save everybody? Like, I'd rather spend that time saving you. And so he takes the serum for himself, but I don't really understand what the regeneration serum would do for Barry if he's going to be, like, regenerate him back to life. I don't know if it has that level of capacity. My thought process was maybe he'd use it on himself, on like maybe any dark matter cells that were still lingering that are now inactive, to regenerate them in his system to gain his abilities back so he can fight in Crisis and either take Barry's place or at least maybe be able to cause something different, because, you know, at least with Vibe's ability, he could sense the other worlds disappearing and sense when Crisis was coming towards him or coming towards Earth. So I don't know. I don't know. Would I love to see Vibe's power back? Yes. I 100% want to see Vibe's power back. Power back. I got it. Because we were just starting to get him, like, really utilizing it. Like, we saw him, like, even like right before he gave up his powers, just in the coffee shop when he was just like dumping coffee into like a dimensional like portal and making it drop somewhere else. Like, we were starting to see him utilize it more, and then we lost it. And I understand why, and I totally understand. Like, I really like that character development and his choice to not live by what that original Wells had told him and branch off and be him. I 100% understand that. But bring back Vibe. I mean, you don't have to do just for Crisis. Like, either bring like an alternate version of Vibe, so at least we get to see him, or maybe he gets his gear. And at least because his gear, he might have found a way to use his gear to totally duplicate his powers. So we might see some fashion of Vibe in Crisis. I hope we do. I cannot wait for Crisis. There is so much to discuss about that. That'll have to be a whole nother video. I've got loads and loads of questions on that, but I want to get back. I want to stick to the Flash episodes 3 and 4. Caitlin and Killer Frost. Do you think they'll find a way to separate them so they each will be on screen? I wouldn't like that idea, but just to find some sort of way where they can interact at the same time, because I really feel for Killer Frost. I mean, that actor has done a brilliant job separating Caitlin and Killer Frost, and being able to have both of their characters develop almost simultaneously and together, all on her own, is really incredible, and she does an amazing job. Could not do that without that kind of skill. So hats off to you again, because that is incredible. And, you know, I really feel for Killer Frost. And what would you rather have? I mean, would that be a good idea to have them separate, or for them to be able to talk at the same time? I know that would be insanely difficult to pull off, probably camera wise, like realistically, like on screen. But I mean, I really, you know, because one thing we did see kind of towards the end with Killer Frost is she's decided that because Crisis is right around the corner, Caitlyn's going to come back so that she can be on medical standby. Because Caitlyn has all the medical knowledge and the training to pull off anybody who gets injured or hurt during Crisis. So as soon as Killer Frost has regained her life and almost has started to find hobbies and a connection and started like going out into the real world, does she have to choose yet once again to be a hero and make that sacrifice and not get her chance of her own, which she's earned. She's earned 100 times over. She's really dedicated herself and really changed over these past few seasons and has really become incredible. Would not have defeated Cicada without her. I mean, honestly, like, and I know that may have been a difficult season for a lot of people, but without Killer Frost, Cicada would have won for sure. Like, her power was the only power that worked for the longest time because she, she wasn't affected by dark matter. This was a part of her from the beginning. So it'll be good to see Caitlyn back on screen again and to see her interact with Barry and be there with him during this time, because they've had such a close relationship, and I think Barry will benefit from that while he kind of goes through these last few weeks before he has to before Crisis is here. Poor Barry, man. Look, like, he's going through some stuff. Having to he's gone through a real journey these past 4 episodes, understanding that he has to give himself up to save everybody. On top of that, just like leaving his team and his wife again. He has to, and on top of that, he's still trying to be a team leader, and he's still trying to be the Flash for the community, and even pour all of his energy into saving Ramsey, somebody who really, maybe doesn't even deserve to be saved. Like, with the path that he's been on and the things we've seen that he's already done, but Barry still is trying to do just one last good thing before he goes. Like, he still is the Flash, the one person that still wants to do right. And so I love that character trait. It's one of the reasons why the Flash is my all-time favorite, and it's really cool to see. So I'm interested to kind of see where that arc kind of takes us. And I'm really excited to see just where everything goes. They are just killing it this season. I mean, look, I have watched every season. I have loved every season of The Flash. This could be one of the best seasons I've seen so far. I mean, in terms of character development and just the villains that are coming into play, and we've got Crisis and the whole interactions with all the team. I mean, we're just, so much is happening and so much is coming to pass that it is just going to be killer to watch. And I am so excited to see where it goes. I hope you guys are too. I hope you guys like these little review discussions, just kind of off the cuff, just talking about the stuff I really enjoy, and just seeing, just pure entertainment. I mean, this stuff is just fun to watch. There's great messages in there if you want it, but I mean, we watch it for the Flash. I mean, I'm watching it right now. It's on the background. I mean, it just right now, Cisco and Harrison Wells are just, they're interacting, and Cisco makes this little chip, like microchip device for Harrison Wells' stuff. So where he eventually goes and finds the monitor, and Nash is like, "This is it. This can't be right." And Cisco's like, "Just, it works, okay? Like, you're driving me nuts, man." Like, their relationship is just off to their dynamic is just so cool. So episodes 3 and 4 are done. We are coming up close to Crisis. It's in a few weeks from now. I'm super pumped. Crisis is going to be just massive. I don't know where they're going to go from here. I mean, this is a huge moment for the CW and for all of these shows that have been on the air and provided a version of the DC universe that is just, they found their niche. The DC, they created a universe and they've done a really good job, and for them to be able to, build what they've built is just incredible. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Flash, episodes 3 and 4, so awesome. Can't wait for the next one. Join me next time. Signing off. Have a good one, guys.